Chapter 1. The Fertile Spirit course filled up quickly. Claire is in charge of the rejection letters. It's her least favorite task in the office, but she's good at it. She's pithy, and in my experience, it's important to get these things over with quickly. Plus, I've been busy with the lawyers, assessing the fallout from our masturbation show and tell event last week that rubbed a few people the wrong way. I've been told not to panic, that the disclaimers we had participants sign before the workshop were smart, forward-thinking, anti-litigation devices. Next week, we'll be announcing our annual So You're a Hippie meet and greet. We expect quite the rush. This event fills up fast. It's a chance for people to get out from underneath their societal rock and mingle. You'd be surprised how much some people benefit from a little structure. We're deep in fermentation season here. The entire building smells of sulfur and turned cabbage. The probiotics growing in the mason jars do not necessarily assist with digestion if inhaled, but it's worth telling people to halt conversation quickly about the smell. Some organizations ferment year-round, but we have a more macrobiotic approach and only ferment in the winter and fall months. Spring and summer are reserved for fresh culinary interests. Our foray into the culinary arts is one of our newer dalliances. Satsuma takes great pride in his approach, and his appreciation for all things delectable is not to be questioned. Lonnie, an understudy in the kitchen, can attest to the latter. Naturally, the ingredients used in the course are only natural, seasonal, and free of anything pharmaceutically nefarious. What I find remarkable is the level of instruction that goes into eating what is prepared is almost as detailed as the instruction that goes into creating the dishes. For example, when a dish is served, Satsuma asks the students to thank it, then caress whatever they're about to eat with whatever utensil they're about to use as a gesture of affection, followed by an audible, spoken gesture, appreciation. We can tell they're seconds away from stuffing their faces when you hear, "Thank you, and until we meet again," followed by a symphony of mouth noises. The greenhouse has been a disaster. Not one gardener has taken responsibility for the excessive and, quite frankly, pedestrian handling of still federally illegal mycelium spores in the portable compost habitats gifted to us from the Samuelson Trust 2 summers past. Margot Samuelson was our former benefactor, a brave and truly pioneering force, and even though Margot is no longer with us, she is with us, and she continues to enrich us all from beyond the grave as an excellent source of lime and potassium in our vegetable garden soil. We used to have an entomology instructor. Now we have a restraining order against a former entomology instructor. Harold has taken it upon himself to teach ceramics. What Harold knows of ceramics, I haven't a clue. Do I think Harold can commit to studying pottery, building a kiln, and successfully teaching our students? Your guess is as good as mine. Lunch is between noon and 1:30 Monday through Friday. We do not supply lunch. we do observe it. The staff eats too. Furthermore, Sonny built 3 transcendent picnic tables during the off-season at his shop in the hills that reside in his garage. Each one is a different color. Plus, knowing Sonny, each one doesn't have a single duplicate nail or screw in them. All of the wood is likely found, so it goes for any of the binding materials, implements, i.e. screws or nails. Would anyone notice? It depends. 2 students have dedicated themselves to the study of communication. They are responsible for the student paper, I Am the Center, which is now an online magazine called I Am the Center. It's not a blog, I've been told by Clyde and Kendra, it's not. Our drama course is one of our crowning achievements. We've produced numerous recordings, productions, and works of musical theater and experimental theater. The school has also produced, I like to say, fostered, notably and nationally identifiable talents such as fill in the blank and fill in the blank. Political discourse has soared and soured over the last several years. Everyone seems to be in a unanimous agreement with themselves. It's unusual. And from an outside perspective, a generational distance and at the same time geographical closeness, most faculty members find their views frightening. Several of us have discussed the not-so-subtle resemblances to certain non-flattering movements in history the students would have our heads for overhearing, but that's precisely the point. Sex education, I think, gets a bad rap on campus. Sexual exploration is encouraged, but not instructed, except by the students themselves by way of allegory metaphor, symbolism, and sensual representations such as the Wednesday group. The Wednesday group is an informal association not affiliated with the school in any shape or form that meets every other Wednesday in the upstairs adjunct office. Meetings are loosely led by a clique that may be responsible for the group's existence. No one has asked them directly, nor is anyone on the record interested in the group's origins. The topics discussed range from masturbation to masturbation. Occasionally, discussion recounts and then addresses an actual experience involving more than one person, but these are rare and not the group's sole focus. The group has even presented publicly at one of our community-focused open house events. That's them now. It did not go well, and even the poorest of detectives can discern that the Wednesday group is responsible for the aforementioned show and tell at the beginning of the top of this letter. Everyone calls the school just the Brick House. It's a colonial building built out of no one knows how many burnt clay bricks. Translation, it's New England all the way. The building's been recycled and passed down through so many municipal iterations that no one has any patience to actually feign any interest in any of the aforementioned histories anyways. The basement has a mold problem. Maintenance has not been able to get rid of any long stints in the basement. It has not been able to get rid of and long stints in the basement have been known to unfortunately produce symptoms. Symptoms can include headache, sore throat, runny nose, coughing, sneezing, watery eyes, and fatigue. We've moved classes out of the basement as of last spring. The caveat being the bathrooms are in the basement. There's nothing in the school budget that can change that. Furthermore, and double unfortunately, the boys in the boys' room have begun utilizing the area around the urinals as opposed to using the actual urinals. This preference combined with the mold packs a wallop and a pungent overall aroma. Music classes are taught by Headley Scott, 1T. They are mostly improvisational affairs called round robins, where the students sit and vamp. Headley points to a child. The child goes red in the face, sweats, and tries to solo. The ones that don't sweat are musicians. A group of our more prestigious pitch prodigies have formed a group called Who's Afraid of Jazz and meet after school to write and rehearse original compositions. But none of these maladies or eccentricities were the ignition that ignited the mushroom cloud that enveloped our school and ground our state charter to a halt. The community fracture began with the arrival of a student delegation from the neighboring Gateway Regional High School. Chapter 2, to be continued. How's it going?
Hi.
I'm just gonna fuck around.